Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Triforce podcast. Oh, it's been a busy week, but I'm full of Christmas cheer and festive joy and holiday energy, holiday positivity.
Yeah.
Sips, how are you feeling?
Our annual switching on of the Christmas lights all across town and the rest of the island was cancelled because of weather.
Oh, yeah.
First delayed, then cancelled.
Bloody weather coming over here.
I know. So
pouring on everything.
So
making it all wet.
So now all we're left with is just the buy a lot of stuff and enjoy Christmas. We don't even get any of the lights switching on or the parades or anything. We're just.
Did you have a low key celebrity intending on doing it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Did Henry Cavill do it once?
Does he live in Jersey?
Yeah, famously.
I think he does. Yeah, still.
So Rob Brydon is local, as is Nick Frost, are sort of Twickenham, Richmond local celebs, along with like Brad Pitt and a bunch of other people, but they'd never do it. But I remember Rob Brydon was going to do it one year, and we were all very excited to see Rob Brydon on Twickenham Green, and then it pissed it down, and so he said, "Well, I'm not coming," and nobody else did either. So that was that.
I mean,
the weather routinely ruins things in this country.
It does, yeah. It's not been great. So the weather
Fuck the
recently.
weather. We should declare war on the weather.
The weather declared war on Christmas. That's the problem.
Yeah, the war on Christmas has begun. The weather is at the front line.
Let's have an armistice. Let's all be home by Christmas, for God's sake.
We had a 5-minute hurricane over here the other day as well, and all of our gardens. Yeah, it was actually legitimately just 5 minutes of like intense wind that blew all of my garden furniture all over the place. We got this big trampoline. It blew it halfway across the garden. It was that windy.
Wow.
How did that not make the
Nature
news?
is terrifying, isn't it?
A little kid slide that was weighed down with a ton of water. That went almost smashed up my greenhouse as well.
Oh, good heavens.
And my neighbor came over the next morning and was like, "Can I have a look in your backyard? I think some of my crap that's outside the front of my house flew into your backyard." And I said, "Be my guest, but there's a lot of shit back there that's all over the place already."
There's a lot of shit already in there.
Yeah,
good luck. It's like a fucking
it.
rubbish dump in here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking of gardens, I've hit an interesting problem.
You've hit one.
I've
Are you
hit
digging
one.
in it?
No, it's more like it hit me in the face.
I'd be scared to dig in a garden in
Yeah,
London
you should
because
be.
you'd hit like a water pipe or a fucking electricity
Bombs.
cable or
I
something.
mean, in London,
God
there's a
knows.
good chance you're going to come across some sort of bomb or something
Yeah,
from
happens all the time around here.
World War II, yeah.
Oddly enough, you wouldn't think Twickenham would be bombable, but we had a little airstrip here in the war. Now it's rugby parking, times change. But yeah, so the Jerry would drop a few bombs on here on his way back and forth over London. But we've had our
Jerry.
Bloody Jerry
coming over here, bombing us, dropping things out of the sky.
Hello,
everyone's
Jerry.
doing it.
Yeah.
Hello, Newman. Hello, von Neumann. My neighbours at this buy house have all changed. The house has now been sold. There's new people in there, and they are renovating the property. They gutted it and they're doing it up. And when they came to do the garden, they noticed that our garden, as in my garden, might be a foot into their garden. And if you look at the land deeds, it's out by about a foot. So we've got like a raised flower bed, and we've got our fence and paving stones and all the rest of it. So our new neighbour is reasonably saying, "Can we have our garden back, please?" And it's a tricky one because I think we've had it fenced for well over 15 years now, because the original fence was there when we moved in. So that fence has been there for a very long time. And I don't want to start off my relationship with my potential new neighbour by getting the law involved, but I believe that we could claim something called, or what is it called now? It's called something like adverse possession or something like that. Where you're basically saying, well, look, you haven't been using it. We've had it fenced for a ton of time. You can't now turn up and demand it back.
Yeah,
and
was it like a foot?
Forms. It's literally a foot, yeah. But our next door neighbour, not the one behind, our next door neighbour, their fence is in line with the property line. So if you look at the guy's garden, it goes along for the width of our property and then comes in by a foot. So it's sort of an uneven
that's
back
weird,
fence, which is awkward.
You get a lot of that shit in I feel like Jersey, you get that too, but in England, because a lot of the property lines were just drawn such a long time ago, right? So over time,
right.
they're
But
not
the issue
really
is, if you look at
respected.
the plan, like the actual property deeds, as it were, it is meant to be a straight line.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, when our old whoever owned the house before us put this fence in, they yoinked a foot of land. It might have been an accident. It might have been
did they measure
intentional,
it? How did they know that it was a foot out? Is it really that? Is it quite a small garden?
Well, they
Yeah, no, I
probably
mean,
got
you-
all
I'm-
the when they
I'm looking at
bought
it.
the place. They probably had all of the property plans, details, and stuff like that.
Right, but more to the point, it's literally visibly out. So imagine their back fence.
It would have been their lawyer probably that spotted it.
No. You could walk. Listen, guys, you're not listening to me. You walk into the back garden and the back fence is out. Like it goes along a bit,
I
then
get
goes
it,
in a
but
foot,
I'm just
and
saying,
then goes along. You wouldn't even need a lawyer.
If they just bought the place, they would have had a lawyer, and the lawyer would have looked at that stuff.
No,
'cause
that's
what
the
they
surveyor. The surveyor would have done that.
Right.
And he said to them, your back fence is out by about a foot. And I mean, it's not even a question of having a look at the plans. You look at their back garden, and their back fence is literally goes along, goes up, and then keeps going along. So it's like someone's drawn a Z. It's not even something where you would need an expert. It's just
I see. They are right.
I mean, the back
I
fence is
see.
literally uneven. And not even in a sort of canted way. It's a zigzag. That's our back garden is essentially intruding onto their land by a foot. Now the problem is, like I said, we've got a raised bed right up against that fence. This was all put in a couple of years ago. We've got all these plants are bedded in. The paving stones are all up to that point. So it's not like a simple thing to change, unfortunately.
Right,
No.
here's some suggestions. One, invite them around and make friends with them.
Oh no, I went around and see
show
him.
them the garden.
I went around to see him.
Have they come round and seen you?
Yeah.
Have they seen
it's all
in your
been very
garden?
amicable. It's all been very amicable. Yeah.
Yeah, until they don't get their way, and then that's when the
Right.
dog shit in a paper bag on fire turns up.
See, but that's what I
doorstep.
don't want, right? That I
You
don't
don't want
to
a war with the
start
Russian
off-
spy
Well,
house.
now
Yeah.
it's just some lad. But I'm like, geez, do I really want to start my relationship with a potential new neighbor on the it's our land? I didn't want to go down that route. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully we can resolve it amicably.
Yeah.
I think you might just have to fucking move it.
No, I mean, I'm almost sure that's what's going to happen.
The moving the fence and cutting the or taking a foot out of the raised beds is going to be kind of a pain in the
How
ass.
about you ask them if you can rent it from them?
No, so I asked if we could buy it, and he said no. Because he said how is the amount of money that they would want for something that looks like this would be more than it would be worth to us. In other words, it would not be the price that they would undoubtedly set would be higher than what we'd be willing to pay. So I was like, okay, so he doesn't want money.
It's a strip of land in London that's worth millions potentially. You can build a high rise on that.
And the other thing is the gardens around here are little as it is. So losing a foot of your garden, it's not ideal. So we'll see. Hopefully,
Wow,
we can resolve
that
it.
sounds like domestic hell. I hate that kind of shit.
No, I
man.
don't want it to become domestic. I'm determined to resolve this amicably. Even if we could go down some other route and be dicks about it, I don't want to start off
You could
with
just
a new
say,
neighbour on that.
How about the rent is like, a hamper of cheese and,
I don't
whatever,
think he's
some
gonna take
local.
I don't think he's going to
You
take
don't
it.
think so?
No.
Okay. They want it back.
The fact that he
Fair
brought
enough.
it up in the first place means that this guy is firmly dug in to
Well, it's
getting his
possible
foot back.
but it's possible he doesn't like the zigzag though. He wants it to be straight, and
I mean,
that'll
it
bother
looks
him.
bad. And also, they're looking to rent the place out as well. So if people come around and are looking to rent a house,
who's going to give a shit if they're renting it?
Yeah, I don't think anybody renting that place is going to give much of a shit, honestly.
Yeah, but I think they want to do like a really nice garden and everything, and it would be dog shit to do with a.
You shouldn't do a
jagged
nice
line.
garden if you're going to rent it out because they won't look after the garden.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what the actual issue
You need
here
a
is
low
that
maintenance artificial turf.
get
rocks.
the turf in. Yeah, get some fucking just concrete, just bare.
Maybe
concrete.
they're going to turf it, and they don't want to have a zigzag
Get
missing.
some fucking slabs down there. Just slab it up, the whole thing.
This would have been the perfect crime, I suppose, if when my actual next door neighbours redid their fence, they just kept it where the old fence was, which is in line with mine, but they didn't. They lined it up with their other neighbour's fence. So they sort of did it the right way. And if they hadn't, this all would have been much easier. But unfortunately,
get an artist in to paint like a 3-dimensional, so it looks like the fence is set back a foot. You know what I mean? Like painted on the fence.
Yeah.
You know, like how they do that sometimes. They paint on a wall. It looks like an alley or whatever,
Yeah,
and people
just
fall
do
for
that.
it all the time. Just do that one more and just say, "Look, sorted, mate.
Just
leave
like
me
in
alone.
a Wile E. Coyote production.
Yeah.
Like when he paints
Or
the
just
tunnel
get some
entrance.
Darren Brown mirrors.
Oh
set up.
Mirrors. Mr.
So it
Brown,
looks
I
like-
have a job for you. I'm on my way. He's already here.
Just do a full,
already here.
just do a full mind bend on them, Darren Brown style. Be like,
I have to nod a lot and
look,
touch
look
them on the
into my
wrist.
eyes, look deep into my eyes, and then
There is no garden.
you haven't noticed that your garden is a
But
foot
I have
out.
to do it to every other visitor. Because if one of them says, isn't that fence wonky? So every time anyone comes around, I'd have to have Darren Brown intercept them at the door, quickly hypnotize them, and send them in.
What are you talking about? He just like waves his hand and like Jedi mind tricks on him.
Oh, speaking of Jedi mind tricks, although no Jedi mind tricks, it's actually just Star Wars. Andor, the series Andor has now finished all 12 episodes. Terrific. Check it out if you get the chance. Great show.
Yeah, I heard really good things about it. I just haven't checked it out. I've been watching a bit of the World Cup though. That's been fun.
Oh, I'm watching it right now. Wales
gosh.
0, Iran 0.
Oh, nice. Okay, I didn't even
Actually, a
realize.
better game than it sounds.
I knew that game was on today. I just didn't know what time. But
It's
England
very low
game is tonight.
maintenance
yeah,
viewing.
England USA tonight should be pretty
Yeah,
exciting.
gonna watch that. We've got to beat the Yanks. Canada sadly lost. My
Man, they did so
my half
good though.
nation.
They played
did.
so well. Holy crap! I was
Fair play
really
to
surprised. Yeah, I don't think they've ever scored a goal in a World Cup before, and they came pretty close.
Yeah, they did.
the other day when they played.
The World Cup is in full swing. There's been a lot of upsets. I mean, this is always we get someone's got a TV on in the office,
Right.
And so most of the time it's watched so little that TV has mostly had like catchphrase and loose women or whatever is on after.
It's
or
the one in the
before.
corner, isn't it? Near where the Christmas tree goes.
No, we moved it to the
Oh, okay.
we got two big TVs that normally show the streams and stuff, but the football has been on, and there's usually a couple of people stood around discussing something else while watching it in the way that you're watching it now, i.e.
Right.
not really giving it any attention, just
Yeah, it's
keeping
just-
an eye on
yeah,
it in
it's
case
a-
something appears to happen that's
It's a
interesting.
nice distraction. It's a nice. It's a nice like because it's games are
very low
typically
energy.
on when
Yeah.
when it's like crunch time in my house, so I can just put it on and then just ignore everything that's going on around my house and pretend like I'm watching football, which is kind of nice.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
It's
went up
bedtime.
to.
Oh right. Oh yeah. No, look, they're about to score a goal. Don't talk to me.
I went up to York Wednesday, and I went to York University and I had to chat to a bunch of the students there studying various production things about what it would be like working in esports. That was what I was up there for.
Yeah.
And I've done some stuff with York University before. It was very nice students. A lot of
Nice.
Triforce fans. A lot of,
Okay.
A lot of York's fans. So nice bunch. But I could not believe this. York is small, right? York is not a big city. It's quite small.
Yeah.
Some of the students live in York, but hardly any of them.
Yeah.
And some of them have to commute
notably,
very long ranges. Like
a very famous dweller of York is, of course, the Grand Old Duke
Right.
of York. And,
well, he has to commute in these days.
Right.
Shocking.
Yeah, well, that's the
House
thing.
prices.
He has to commute up a hill as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What then?
Well, then he's got to commute back down again after he's
Oh,
done. So-
gosh. Well, these guys are commuting, some of them, a 3-hour train ride to get into uni,
Yeah.
which is insane. And I know transport is dog shit in the north. I've discovered recently. So yeah, a lot of these youngsters pretty bloody committed. If when I was at uni, it was a 10-minute walk to uni, and I still couldn't be asked to go to most lectures. So this lot are commuting for 2-3 hours a day. It's mad.
I couldn't be bothered going to lectures. I never really went to them, and this is kind of before we had a lot of resources available on the internet. So it was
Right.
like I just did not read or do any of the work. And
Yep, that was the
somehow
problem I had.
passed, but that was great.
What'd you get?
Oh, like a C, I'm sure. Like my
C?
entire education was just really, really, really just below average. In Canada, anyway, when I was going, it was still E, D. I'd say E was the worst you could get. D, C, B, A, and then A plus was just like, if you were really, really committed. And I don't think I ever got an A plus on anything. No, actually, you know what? I wrote a poetry book in, I think it was like grade 8. I had to do a poetry book. It was due. We had like months to do it, and I put it off. And then 2 days before it was due, I decided that I better do this because I was about to fail English. So I made a poetry book and I filled it with limericks and stuff, but it was so it was so last minute. Everything was really last minute, But the teacher loved it, and I got an A+. I think that's the only A+ I ever got at school.
Holy shit.
Ever.
You were secretly an actual poet.
Yeah,
and you didn't even know
it was terrible. Like
You didn't just stuck
the
a
limericks
man
were
from Nantucket
just
in there?
dumb as hell. No, it was all very like similar stuff to that though. And but I did
Well,
drawings
if you've ever read
and
any
everything.
Edward Lear, it feels like he fucking knocked it out in like, the day before.
Sure.
Oh, that's absolute garbage.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that yours was garbage, but I'm saying that, maybe
But
secretly
you
this
are
was...
saying that Edward Lear was garbage.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, a lot of it
Interesting.
was trash.
Another power move in school was if you had to do project work and you had to do it with a partner, you would try to make sure that you were sitting next to like a really hot girl on the day so that you'd get
for crying
partnered
out
up with her.
loud.
Well, why not? I mean, geez, you got nothing else.
I thought you were going to say
do
the nerdy guy
I'm
or
gonna do
whatever.
the fucking work. I mean, the thing is, like,
So you're not going to...
nah. But the project work sometimes meant that you had to like go to each other's house to work on it because it was involved, right? So then you'd like,
But the hot girl's going to expect you to do all the work. I'd rather sit
Whoa.
next to the...
No.
They can be hot girls that are smart too. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, this
I've
is
never
at the
met
height of my
any.
when I was in high school and I was like in my I'd say like mid to late teens. That was at the height of my casual smoking phase. So project work was great because you just turn up and be like, all right, what are we working on? Hang on, I'm just going to go out for a smoke. Just be outside smoking all the damn time. Oh, it was the best.
Oh, the bike sheds. I was the same with lectures and but I had a friend of mine that was very compliant with sharing their very anally written notes.
Right.
So it was like very much like if I didn't come in, I'd be able to just copy the notes. And I was more of a kind of notes based learner. I'd rather the lectures for me were not helpful. It was like an audiobook version of the notes, and I'm like, just give me the fucking notes, dude. I'll learn off that.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan, and also like I don't think I had a single lecturer that was actually compelling in any way.
No,
I mean, at the high end
terrible.
universities, you can actually watch online a lot of the lectures by MIT professors and stuff like this, right?
But some of these guys are famous, like in their field and stuff, and like well known for being good at what they're teaching and being like
some of the highest
stuff.
level professors also have got there because they're very compelling lecturers, right? They're very compelling. Some people are just researchers and have to do their amount of lectures and really don't want to get it done. But I think you have to try and find someone that you want to listen to because if you don't, you will not take anything in anyway. Why bother going to the lecture? Yeah. Anyway, that's a little hot tip for you. It's it's a week before Jingle Jam as we record this, and last night
and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even
Dav the mouse.
I don't even know how you can put a.
He loves sweet cheese and Rustler's burgers. What rhymes with burgers? What rhymes with burgers?
Mergers. Corporate
and he's
mergers.
heavily involved in corporate mergers.
Perfect. Perfect.
So we actually arranged a meetup for all of the charities in Jingle Jam because we've never done anything like this before, and I feel like it's not something that happens very often. Fundraisers who are doing their event don't tend to put on like a dinner or whatever for the or it wasn't a dinner, but we had a meet up at the office. We had some drinks, and then we booked out Kong's, which is a local bar. And we didn't sort of expect anyone to come down, but actually every charity sent someone. And I don't know what I was expecting, but obviously it turns out that people who work for charities are very nice people. I think it weeds out all the cunts, doesn't it? You're not gonna last very long at a charity if you're not a lovely, lovely person. I feel like if you've dedicated your life to,
I feel like you could find a couple of cunts in the charity field for sure, right?
I feel like a lot of people are treat their job like it's let's get away with doing the bare minimum, or they hate it because they're forced to do it, or they have some awful manager or whatever. But I feel like if you're working for a charity, there's automatically this feeling that this money that they're paying me to work for them could be going directly to good causes, but instead it's paying stupid me. So I feel like they are almost like in the back of their mind, they're like, I better I better do a good job, or I better put the effort in, or I better try and make this worthwhile. I feel
morally behooven to do their best.
Yeah, in a sense. And everyone was so nice and so positive that actually, it kind of infused us with a bit of good energy. Because
Let me just check something here. You didn't invite a bunch of those chuggers in, did you? That are trying to get you to sign up by mistake. You got actual charity workers
on the street.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I was talking to them about the people on the street, and Ben actually used to do it. So he knows what it's like.
Edgar,
Ben Edgar, yeah. Well, he apparently, they do get paid for that, and it's they get like a commission, so that they almost need to zhuzh up, they need to make an effort.
Yeah.
And he just said, the girls would get far more sign-ups than men.
Such an incel, Ben is.
I think it's just a true comment about what people on the street do.
I definitely signed up
to.
We have door-to-door charity mugging or chugging. And I've signed up to 3 on the doorstep. And in 2 of those instances, it was definitely because the people knocking on the door were very attractive women.
Right.
And it's just disarming.
Well, it has happened to me once as well when I was younger. When I was living with my parents, I was very lonely. Some chugger knocks on the door and looks all bedraggled and sad and wet.
Yeah.
And I was
Were you at the time were you singing that song "Lonely"? I'm Mr. Lonely, and then the doorbell rang. Oh, who could it be? Just you snap out.
Before I knew it, I had a subscription to whatever. I think I'm probably even still signed up actually, and that was about 15 years ago. So
nice.
But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen since I'm in an apartment. I guess because you've got an ordinary house in an ordinary neighborhood, people still do door-to-door stuff. Is that something? Do people randomly knock on your door? I was saying the other day, I don't think Jehovah's Witnesses are really knocking on people's
not
doors
since COVID.
Anymore.
Honestly, nobody really knocks on the door
Yeah, we were saying
anymore.
COVID is obviously a thing, and also I just think they've given up. I think they've run out of people.
Yeah, I think they just realized that the cold calling method. I think people are probably increasingly hostile. I know, for example, my father-in-law. They must have him on a blacklist or something because even before COVID, they never turned up to his house anymore. And it's because he would argue with them all the damn time.
Right.
He would just stand there for hours arguing with them and questioning them and stuff like that. I think in the end, they
a busy man. Sounds like a busy man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's been retired for quite some time, so he's just...
Hold on, let me get my notebook. I've got my arguments.
No, he does not like them. And he will waste as much of their time as possible, which is, it's funny and sad at the same time, I guess. But what can you do?
No,
some people just that's just how some people want to watch this world burn.
Yeah, I think you suck out joy from the world wherever you could suck it.
Exactly. Just stick it in your mouth and suck it. Yeah.
So I had a lovely time at Kong's. It's very loud in there, but we still had a good time. And I sort of tried to speak to everyone from
Was it an
charity.
open bar?
I think we were buying, but I don't know if it was open.
Well, that's probably why everybody was so nice, Lewis. I'm not being funny, but you invite everybody to a bar and then you buy all their drinks.
Yeah, they were all really happy people.
These guys were so nice and happy and
they
upbeat.
were drunk, Lewis. That's what they were.
No, they were a bit later. It was more. Like, I guess I in the Jingle Jam am coming at this from a different angle. I guess of slight anxiety. Slight fear that everything's going to fall apart or go wrong.
Of course.
Slight worry that I've forgotten to organise something, or I've upset people. Or a lot of people when there's 91 games in the Jingle Jam will be happening now. By the way, if this podcast goes out during December, which I think it will do.
Oh yeah,
in the first
I suppose
week.
It will be. Holy crap!
So Jingle Jam is live. Please support jinglejam.tiltify.com.
Please, I'm begging you.
So. And you guys coming down, you guys doing stuff, you guys are involved, but it's a big. I'm kind of cresting, I think, the organizational surface now. I've been under the water for a long time, and I'm just breathing air again. And I'm not aware that I'm breathing air. I think I'm still gagging for air, and but actually it was quite relaxing to talk to everyone because they were almost like, sounds like everything's sorted. And I was like, oh, actually, maybe it is. And I was able to relax. And And it was had a really nice time. And there's lots of interesting stories from all the charities and lots of really good causes. And they're so excited to be involved because I feel like they got to meet all the other folks that were in. It's not like they're competing. And even if they were, I don't think they're the kind of people who
Charity
think
war.
that way.
I'd love that.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just a really nice time. But I'm a bit hungover today. And but it was nice to see what my tolerance is. And it turns out it's about 2 pints.
No, you've always been a bit of a lightweight, but that's
does
fine.
not bode well for
I don't know. You're
being
not
fair.
much of a drinker, really, are you?
That's the thing. He's not.
You got it's something that you got to build up a lot over.
Well, I
time.
haven't drunk for almost this whole year, really.
Yeah.
Apart from little bits and bobs.
Well, you know what? The next time I drink, I'm gonna be like, I'll just have to have a sniff of it because I haven't had anything to drink since well before COVID. So it's been
Good God.
multiple years. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I'm
This
drinking
easily
right now.
happens, right?
It's 11 a.m. Drunk as a lord.
Well, it's I was going to say it's Christmas, but it's the World Cup. It's the World Cup.
Christmas.
World Cup, innit, mate? You got to get a few berries, don't you?
Remember that old Harry Enfield skit? The It's Christmas. Ah, come on, it's Christmas. He's like shitting in a goldfish pond. Like, he's doing all this stuff, but you know.
When I come down for Jingle Jam, which is not that long before I come down, I don't think I'm doing anything for the first 4 days I'm down or something like that.
Nice.
So I'm just gonna sit around drinking all day, I guess, and chatting people in the
Period
office.
Flax.
Pure Flax.
Yeah, I got you in.
You can put him down for some of my stuff, Lewis.
I got you in
He's
Scrub
nothing to do.
Dota, Poker.
Yeah, but so when does the
CS:GO,
Scrub Dota start? Is it Wednesday?
and Rust RP?
Put it
Scrub
on the
Dota will be
first day.
Wednesday.
Right, so I'm down Sunday. So I've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday doing
Get
Nout.
him in some stuff.
And
Oh,
then
Get him on
Wednesday.
a-
you could
get
do
him
the
on
quiz,
some
the
bundle
quiz
stuff.
stream.
I'd love to do the quiz stream.
You could do board games. You could
Yeah,
do
you go.
Sid Meier's Civilization 6.
There
No,
you
you've
go.
got 8 people for that already.
You could join it on Hat Films, this music stream.
There you
That's
go.
something you could do
would.
every day.
That has been a dream for me, but I think it's just the lads, which is
Well,
fair.
you could pop in and do a vocal though.
Yeah, you could.
A little cameo. They
I'm
need
just-
extra
I'm just gonna-
snippets of audio.
I'm just going to sit around in the office drinking, and if anybody grabs me for anything, I'm down. That's my plan.
Okay.
All
I think
right.
that's generally that's the best way to experience
Indeed.
Jingle Jam.
Indeed, it does mean hanging out with people, which I'm not great at hanging out with people who aren't.
The thing is,
drinking.
P-Flax, every day in the office, we need to do something. Like today, we need to go and buy some fucking Christmas jumpers.
Well, I'm not up for
and what?
See,
You don't
this
wanna
is the
buy
problem.
Christmas sweaters?
I'm not up for that.
Well, no, but I mean, I'm not
That's
saying
your limit.
chores. We're gonna make a whole members video about it.
Oh,
you know?
okay. Well, I might.
So
do
it'll
that.
be for a recorded thing.
But I
It'll-
don't want to be used as the office
the whipping boy.
the whipping boy or gopher, just because I'm there. I don't want to be told, Perry, and go buy a pair of scissors or whatever. I'm not down for that. I'll be helpful, but there's a limit.
Okay, and I suppose you're also going to get increasingly belligerent as the drink goes in.
So in relation to not wanting to hang out with people sober, I'm very happy to do that. But people don't really like me when they're sober. If people get drunk,
What do you mean?
then it's much
What do you
easier.
mean?
I'm saying I'm good company when we're all drunk. But if we're all sober, then I can be quite
We're all
annoying.
good company. You're good company when we have bad judgment.
Exactly.
What are
I
you
need that
saying?
lowered judgment.
and are without inhibition as well.
Exactly.
You're wrong. You're great company. We wouldn't have been doing this podcast for 6 years if you weren't good company.
Oh, I
P-Flax.
think we would have.
I don't think me and Sips have been chugging them down before the podcast to get through it.
Oh,
No,
I
you
have.
guys have me muted. I don't know if they realise. The conversation.
I'm blazed out of my mind right now.
Right. It's just
I'm
on
off my
the
tits,
high
yeah.
of life and
Yeah,
probably like petrol fumes or whatever is
Oh,
leaking
yeah.
into the garage
been
from the
huffing
generator.
diapers. Yeah.
Oh, how is the diaper situation generally?
It hasn't changed much. They're still smelly and filled with shit.
Excrement.
Okay.
The shit is a bit more formed now because she eats actual food, which is
that's-
nice actually. She's
I
sort of
didn't realize there would actually be information
just
from that question.
gradually heading towards becoming a
joy.
2-year-old, which is pretty good. Lots of walking around. Her emotions are now developing, so that you get all these mini tantrums. She was trying to put a sock on the other day, but she didn't realize that it wasn't just a case of laying the sock on your foot and then it magically going on. So she got quite annoyed about that. and just lost it. Yeah, but
I see everyone
like
has previously put socks on her.
Well, yes, yeah. So nobody was around to do that, and she couldn't do it on her own. So she was pretty pissed. But she's got like some favorite shows and stuff too. She recognizes like characters from shows. Like if you see toys of them in the toy store, she points at them. She knows what they are and stuff. She's really obsessed with. It's called My First Boy Swimmer. It's like a little doll boy that's got a swimming cap and a bathing suit on. And like she's seen it in catalog because the kids have a catalog for like Christmas, like toy catalog. And it's a huge catalog. She goes, picks up the catalog, rifles through to find My First Boy Swimmer, and then points at it constantly. Like,
fucking, this thing looks terrifying, dude.
It's really weird, yeah. And then we saw My First Boy Swimmer in the shop the other day when we were doing some Christmas shopping. We had the baby with us, and she was like smiling and pointing at him. So I think I have to buy My First Boy Swimmer, which is not something I ever thought I would say out loud or even have to do necessarily. But
you've already got 3 kids. Don't buy any more.
It's actually My First Swim Boy.
Oh yeah, My First Swim Boy. That's it. Sorry, My First Swim Boy. He's got a blue swimming cap on and just like a full bodysuit, like wetsuit, like baby bathing suit.
Oh my god, I found it. It's all caps baby.
Yeah, born My First Swim Boy. It's actually only 20 beans. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, no, most toys
There's also a My First Swim girl, but I guess she's not interested in the
She
girl
wants the boy.
She likes the blue. Baby, there's loads magic baby born magic unicorn girl and and
all of that
magic
stuff.
Boy.
Yeah.
The look of terror on the baby's face. They don't look like they want to be in the water.
Another one, another toy brand that my daughter is mostly ambivalent about. But they're popular enough where like she had a birthday party recently, and she got a couple of these toys as gifts from like, you know, other kids in her class or whatever. They're called LOL dolls. They're like
yes.
We have definitely spoken about these before.
But they're kind of like
sure.
I don't know. They're like they look like very sort of like bling glamorous, you know, but like also kind of like I don't know. I feel like
alien.
Well, yeah, a little bit alien, but like I don't know. Like some of the outfits and stuff are just a little bit. Like,
if I had been abducted and sucked up into an alien spaceship.
Abducted?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
My eyes. Abducted, yeah.
You said abducted.
Yeah.
Well, that was an egg corn then.
What?
It was an egg corn.
What's like an egg corn?
Well, an egg corn is when you say something a little bit. A lot of people call acorns egg corns because they think they are shaped like an egg, so they should be called egg.
I don't know anybody who has ever referred to
it as an egg. It's a classic egg corn. But basically, you could all these things like people saying things wrong that still make sense.
Right.
There's tons and tons of them, but it's like a Freudian slip.
What's the one? There's one recently that it's like you know, like you say like I couldn't care less, but in America for some reason they sometimes say I could care less, which doesn't make sense. But then they're just like, well, that's how we say it. It's like, what? I don't know. I don't understand that. It doesn't really make sense.
For example, like instead of saying pass muster, people say pass mustard. It's like that doesn't pass the mustard, you know.
Pass the mustard, yeah.
Because it sounds right.
It does, yeah.
There's tons and tons of them. Yeah, biting my time instead of biding my time.
Yeah.
Best thing since life's bread.
Yeah, I've seen this. I'm seeing this list as well. A doggy dog world instead of a dog eat dog world.
Doggy dog world.
Yeah. I think some of these have to be from Trailer Park Boys, right? Like they are Rickyisms.
Yes,
like
they are
a Totoso and stuff like that. Like it's got to be some of them have to be joke ones as well. Right?
Well, I think so, but I think it's also just people mishearing stuff. Like there's always this in your life or other people. I remember the classic one that one of my friends always thought was handbag. instead of handbag.
Because
they thought it was like round, like a slice of ham.
Oh,
I didn't
right.
even put any thought into it. I mean, when you're a kid, if someone says something's called a handbag, it's a handbag. But you don't say handbag. Pass me my handbag. You say, where's my handbag? And you say,
I don't know
handbag.
though. The way that words are pronounced and stuff. Like if you go back and you look even like at American TV in like the 60s and stuff, they had much better like enunciation and stuff.
They did.
Back then. It has become a lot lazier. But I find even English like out of Britain has become a lot lazier. Like in sort of
I got
a
a potential reason for that. Might be that audio quality back then was just not particularly good. So if you didn't enunciate, people just couldn't hear it. Also, if you're like
but it seemed that is just kind of how people spoke, you know, like
but our only reference is television and politicians and whatever other recorded
you
speeches.
You might be right. You might be onto something with the regard of like doing speeches or because there weren't any microphones or anything like this, and when someone had to speak in Parliament or speak to a group of people, they didn't want people to mishear them,
right?
And so they had to have this very clipped way of speaking.
And the early radio broadcasts, they all pronounced every single word very clearly because
they still
it's all
do,
through static and everything.
But
then with no regional accents, it was all default, received pronunciation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then advertising started to have like they found the most trustworthy accents in the nation. I remember reading this article a few years ago, and if you want to appear like trustworthy and reliable, it's generally a Yorkshire accent, like Sean Bean's sort of accent. You an insurance company you can trust, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if you want to appear like you wouldn't have a Scouser saying, "Hey, come to us for insurance and that," you'll insure your car. People will be like, "Yeah, right." So there are some accents people associate with being trustworthy, and some they don't.
It's definitely. It must be the same in other countries as well. I find it fascinating that if you're a native speaker, you can hear the differences between South and North in your country.
Yeah.
And of course, it's so exaggerated in the UK. So exaggerated.
Yeah.
The differences, like even like so I was telling you. Did I tell you this? I was playing Modern Warfare 2, and I had because a lot of people don't realize they've got open mic on their PS5 controller or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And so it's constant.
Yeah, if you
I've
have
never
Prox
heard
chat on, you can hear people.
So many people talking in the game, but it's so funny because you've got this like group of London lads or whatever, playing together using their like very strong slang, like things like I mean, obviously a lot of N-words, but a lot of like actual London slang, like calling people wet or whatever. Like I don't really know what I never really even heard of some of this stuff. It was like they were speaking a different language. And
is this Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2? Currently £60.
The one that just came out.
This is the new Modern Warfare. It's
you can
a
play
mess.
the battle royale, and the sort of like Tarkov battle royale hybrid is free to play. You can download
Tarkov. So it's Warzone 2.
You can download Warzone 2, and you get both of those games. You play them for free.
So if
the Warzone battle royale is definitely just a battle royale.
Battle royale.
Which
is what I like to call a battle royale.
But they've got this beta of a DMZ mode, which the idea is it's supposed to be Tarkov Light.
It's like baby Tarkov, yeah. It's kind of like cool,
baby's
though.
First
wait. This has 11,534 reviews, mostly negative. Is it bad?
It crashes.
It's COD, yeah. I mean,
it crashes all the time and for everyone, and it's frustrating, and it's full of bugs. Like this one, like just leaving fucking always on mic as a default. Like you go in and people can hear you, and like I've heard you know, people arguing, people like having a domestic, like people.
All right, I'm downloading this immediately.
The thing with me is that the minute I sit at my computer, I'm jacking off loud, and if open mic is on, that's not good for my brand,
No, and. So it's well, I'll show you at Flax. It's
so I just went to the store, and I'm trying to download it.
Yeah.
So I go store and I type in Warzone, and it says in library, but it's not downloading it. I want to download it.
This is a common bug with Steam. You might have to restart Steam.
I'll try play now. Oh, it's 21 gig. Christ! All right, go on then. Yeah. Let's have it.
Well, I think I think I've got the whole.
I would
100.
love a nice brainless shooter to play. This sounds just
It
right
is
up
pretty-
my street.
pretty brainless.
It's brainless, but it's a long established game franchise. So
I'm aware of this
you'll
game
have
franchise.
people.
There's a couple of problems
will have
with
only
it.
played this game.
There's
ever.
there's a few sweaty
It's
hot dog
very
juice
sweaty.
drinkers, but it's also it's an everyman's game. It's kind of a well-known AAA game that's played by ordinary men, ordinary folk, ordinary football
Yeah.
watching. Tea drinking.
Another really fun thing is it's
job-having
cross-platform.
folks.
So when you get the controller aim snap against you, it does never feel good.
That sounds like
it's
fun.
cross-platform, but the controller aim assist is pretty exaggerated. Now,
It's
fair enough,
insane,
you
yeah.
do need help on that. But actually, a couple of things about it that are interesting. One is you see very strong lens glints when someone's got a sniper scope on you.
Yeah.
So if they're looking at you,
Did you call it? Sorry, did you
they're
call
looking
it
at you.
lens glints?
Lens
what
glints.
is it called?
Happy
Glare?
lens glints, everybody.
Lens
Lens
flare?
glare.
Or, I
Lens-
just
well,
think
no.
glints. Is that
It's not a-
GLINTZ?
It is a
Yeah,
glint,
well, it's
though.
like-
it is. It's not a flare.
No, it's glints.
I'm buying your daughter a glint doll for Christmas.
Thanks.
I love that word.
It's well, I didn't know how to express it, but it's funny because the thing about it is it in the DMZ in the Battle Royale mode, you have like armor plates and they're pretty tough. Like you could take a hit from any gun in the game
Yeah.
and it'll hit your armor and that'll give you a chance to get into cover. And then if you go down, your guys could bring you back. If you die in DMZ, you can just be brought back even if you're downed. But if you die in the Battle Royale mode, you do the second chance 2v2 in the gulag. And then if you die there, your mates
Yeah.
can still buy you back at a buy station. So it's kind of like there's so many ways you can actually
It plays
come
like
back in.
like PUBG, which you played a lot of, Flax. Except
Yeah,
that
we do. We used to play that all the time.
on your first death, you go to a gulag where you have a chance to come back if you win a 1v1
Yes.
against
Oh.
another
Yes.
sweat lord.
well, it's 2v2 actually this time.
The game
So-
has lots
In
and
the
lots
quads
of
it is.
ways to revive
that
fallen
sounds funny.
comrades.
It just
yeah.
it surprised me with the few hours I managed to play it between crashes. When you crash and lose everything in the DMZ Tarkov mode, you will pull what remains of any hair on your body out.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Flax, because it
I
is
see.
infuriating.
It's got like the
and
same,
and it will crash on you.
you know, like the merchant quests in Tarkov. You know, like Prapor wants you to extract like 5 cans of beans. It's got all those, but you can only have 3 active at a time, so you can't do like in Tarkov. There's no inventory like in Tarkov between missions either. You only have a stash of contraband guns. Because the way that weapons unlock in the game is you have to find them in the world and extract with them first, and then you have that weapon unlocked, and then you have an insurance slot that you can customize a gun and use that. But if you go into DMZ with your customized insured gun and you die, it's on cooldown for like an hour.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
there's
You
no
have to
actual
use-
loss. It's more
No,
like...
you don't actually lose. There's no gear fear or anything like that. And then for things like your body armor, if you get like 3-plate body armor, you can get like a big backpack and stuff. That stuff persists between rounds so long as you exfil. But the minute you die, you just lose all that stuff, and then you just have to reacquire it. But it's so common to find it all.
It's super light. I went in with Kirsty because she was like, because Kirsty's one of these strange people on our Discord who is mostly
She'll be
a
delighted
watcher,
to hear that. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
She
She's
doesn't necessarily like want to get involved, but she loves like seeing what we're doing, like Dota, or even like Dota
a gaming
or anything.
voyeur.
Yeah.
And
She did a lot of fishing in Final Fantasy, I recall.
Well, we went because she was like, she was really scared of playing DMZ with us, right? And so me and Monk went on a run with her. And I was just dying, and she was like saving me and killing guys, and like I was getting knocked out, and she was just like this hero player, and because she was worried she was going to be the weak link on the team, and I was like, "You're playing with me, Kirsty. Do not fear." I am absolute garbage. I really kind of feel bad for anyone who has me on their team.
I haven't
so
played
bad.
any Warzone with Lewis or DMZ, even though our circles very much Venn diagram into each other. But I've never had the pleasure
circle is retreating into.
Yeah.
It's inevitable that we'll have to play in the same group at some point. But no, I Modern Warfare 2. Honestly, there's something about it, like the Tarkov light. It's chill, and until it crashes,
extremely frustrating at times as well. I'll say, and
especially because of the voice chat. My God, it's so fun.
They got the in the paid version, you can play like COD multiplayer, like the traditional sort of like deathmatch, ground war, all that. Ground war is kind of like Battlefield, like the large scale. You can get the helicopters and
it's
and
a bit
trucks and
mindless
stuff.
Shooter.
But fuck me, it's so bad. Like you're just constantly getting sniped from you don't even know where. You can watch replays and there's just people camping in fucking windows.
Well, it's a game mode with 0-second respawn, right?
Yeah.
And so it's for these people who need action. I guess it's a good way to like quickly train yourself with a gun and like get used to a gun because there's people to shoot all the time. But it is.
But all the progression in the game is
super
about
in your face.
using guns and getting.
I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go. Why not?
Yeah. It's a weird recommendation from both of us this week.
That's all right.
I haven't been playing particularly much else other than games in the Jingle Jam.
I've been playing a lot of Snaps still. I still do all my dailies, and I've been unlocking cards and stuff. Yeah,
man, everyone's moved on from that.
I still haven't played a human being. I gave up. It's just always against the computer.
You got to get to gold or so before you start playing against people.
But it's just so many games.
But then when you get to gold or so and you start playing against people, it's the same as any card game. There's just decks that are good and everything else, and you face the same 2 or 3 decks constantly.
It's just always the issue I have with any of these games is and I found it when I played a lot of Magic a couple of months ago. I was really into it, and I think I mentioned this. I didn't know that they have these big sort of almost like a Dota patch, but for Magic, where they clear a bunch of cards out of just the regular ranked arena mode, and they're like, you can't play these anymore. And I'd worked on these decks, and I'd saved up and I'd bought some packs and got some cards, and I'd constructed these cards, and I had these decks I really liked. And then they were like, no, these 18 cards are gone. I was like, well, that's the whole point of the deck is now gone. So now you've got to start again from scratch. But when I was playing, you'd run into like maybe 3 or 4 very consistent, similar decks.
Yes.
And it was just kind of a little bit frustrating.
Every game is like this now.
It is. There must be a solution.
It's solved within a week, and then you're just in this really boring meta game. Like, every game is like that now.
I will say that there were a lot of different kinds of deck in Magic. And the issue with playing a 1v1 is that sometimes, especially if it's just a best of one, is that if you play like the proper ranked modes and all that, what you're really meant to do is play several games against each other, and you have a sideboard where you swap some cards in. So you're like, oh, okay, he's playing this kind of deck, so I'll bring in these cards that deal with that kind of deck. And equally, he does the same thing. So that's pretty much how it's meant to be. The game is not balanced around blindly playing against someone. Because it's the same thing with Dota. The game is balanced around the best players, right? You can't balance it around the idiots. You have to balance it around the best players. So anyone that's semi-competent or copies the best players should be winning. But the thing is, then their decision-making isn't going to be as good. So there were multiple games of Magic I won where the other guy definitely could have won, but fucked up. Yeah. And I did quite like that. It wasn't just as simple as, well, the card's down and now they've won. Yeah. It's decision-making does come into it.
I mean, this is an eternal problem in game design. Like, the fact that you can net deck, or you can just... A lot of people don't want to have to come up with their own list, and so they're copying someone else's.
It's a 60-card deck. It's almost... And you've got thousands of cards. It's
not in Snap.
Very difficult.
It's a 10-card deck in
I know it
Snap,
is, yeah.
And only 6 turns to to play those 10 cards. So it's not that bad.
The one thing I don't like about it is that there's very limited sort of strategy compared to a lot of other games, because you can't attack like cards directly or the player directly like the way you can in Magic, and like a lot of the time whatever the random areas in the middle are as they get revealed, that will really swing things. So it kind of, I mean, it's meant to be a very quick mobile card game, and in that regard it succeeds, but it obviously lacks lacks a lot of the depth that a lot of other good card games have.
I think I think it's a very good idea though to have very small decks with this randomized elements. I mean, imagine the only other solution is basically to build your deck as you go, but then suddenly you're in a deck builder, you're in a roguelike, you're in a very different game,
Hearthstone
right?
Arena,
Right.
Yeah, like these things don't necessarily, and they sometimes come down to luck, or they become very overwhelmingly complex too quickly.
Yeah.
And so it's a very fine line to walk. And some people want complexity and some people want simplicity. And so
I like the simplicity, but also for me with Snap, I don't care so much about playing against people on the ladder and stuff like that. I treat it like a mobile game. I just want to do the dailies that I have. I just want to work my way through the battle pass, unlock cards, like upgrade them, foil them, or whatever.
Yeah, you want to just collect another member of the X-Men that you never heard of.
Like, and I'm fine with that. Like, it's that it does it for me. Like, I spend like an hour a day on it or whatever, and I have that sort of dead time when I'm
Graham X
putting kids to bed
his
or whatever.
Superpower is he has a sleep ray and glasses.
And some of the games can be fun, like depending, like sometimes you'll play against people who just are trying different things out, and you can see all these like fun interactions and stuff, and then those games are great. And then
Ron just hit the post. My goodness. And they hit it again. Oh my god. Oh, wow.
Flax.
They hit one post, then they hit the other, and then Hennessy grabbed it. Oh my goodness, that was close.
Well, amazing stuff. Great podcasting, lads. We're going to put a pin in it here, but thank you. I hope all of you have a nice
we'll put a pin in it. We'll put it on the back burner.
On the Jingle
Circle
Jam.
back around next week.
Yeah, let's all make sure that we're all singing from the same hymn sheet next week. We'll get a helicopter view of the situation.
Going forward, it would be good if we could all rendezvous and reconnoiter out the podcast next week.
Yes.
Get a rendezvous going on there on time.
And make sure you keep up with the corporate mergers and Rustler's
get those mergers
Burgers.
And Rustler's,
right, yes.
Yeah.
Rustler's Burgers as well. Yeah.
Oh, God. Struggled to recall that one. We did it. We did it.
Peace on earth. God bless. See you next time.
Have a great December.
Goodbye. Love you.